Hey there, it's me, Nate, and today I want to try out this format where every week I plan to go through about the latest kind of like video game news and updates with the video game industry, for that week. So this, since it's January 15th, this will mostly be covering stuff that's happened since January 8th. Now, I think I'm going to be calling this What's Gamin' This Week. I think it sounds fun. It's a little bit dumb, but I kind of like it. So we're just going to ride with that. And I want to do this, I'm planning and trying to do this every week. Probably coming out like every Thursday or every Friday of every week. That's my goal, my plan. So let's just jump into it. And if you notice me looking down a lot, I have my phone here on my lap, and that has all my notes and stuff on my phone. Here in the immediate future, we have a couple of upcoming showcases. So today, actually, at 2 p.m. Pacific time, we have the Resident Evil showcase. And obviously, they're going to be showing off Resident Evil Requiem, or Resident Evil 9. And it's supposed to be about 12 minutes long, showing off some new gameplay and giving out some more information about the game. I imagine we'll see probably a bit more Leon gameplay, and then maybe a bit more gameplay of, what's her name? Grace. Grace Ashcroft. I also wouldn't be surprised if they announced that they have a demo coming up, because I feel like ever since like Resident Evil 2 remake, they've usually had a demo come out pre-launch of the game, because I believe they did that for Resident Evil 2, 3, 7. Yeah, I think they've been doing it for all of them since Resident Evil 7. Yeah. So that's something to look forward to if you're a big Resident Evil fan. And then next week, next Thursday, January 22nd, we have Xbox Developer Direct for 2026, and this will be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And this will be mainly focused on 3 games they've announced, so we'll go through those. Let's see, we have Fable from Playground Games. This is looking to be their the reboot of the Fable franchise, because it was previously, the previous games, Fables 1, 2, and 3, were made by Lionhead. And this one's made by Playground Games, the makers of Forza Horizon. And, for those who don't have any familiarity with Fable, it's a Western open world, not open world, a Western like action RPG style game. You make your character, go on quests, have a story. Mentioning open world before, this one might be open world. The previous games were more like zones, kind of like the Outer Worlds. But considering it's Forza, the Forza team, and they're so used to like these big, large-scale, maps, this new Fable might actually be open world, so that'd be an interesting change for the franchise. And this is going to be our first in-depth look at the gameplay of Fable, because so far all we've seen is a bunch of cinematic trailers really for the game. So I'm personally really interested in the game. I want to see how the gameplay looks and how it all flows together. I'm personally not a fan at all of the old Fable games. I love RPGs. I like Western RPGs, but I think the previous games were pretty mediocre, in my opinion. So yeah, I want to see it, and I hope we get a release date. It'd be great if it came out this year, if it actually made it this year. And then next up, also from Playground Games, we're going to be getting a look at Forza Horizon 6, which this game's going to be huge, just based off of like how big Forza Horizon 5 is doing just on PlayStation. It's a 4-year-old game. It's selling like crazy on PlayStation. So 6 is going to be set in Tokyo. And they're going to be, showing off the setting, the new map, and supposed to be showing off like some new gameplay features. Now, this is just rumor and hasn't been confirmed or verified, but it is rumored that Forza Horizon 6 will be releasing on May 19th. That is a rumored release date, and I could totally buy that. I think May would be a good time for it. I think the only like big game competition that's going on in May, at least that's been announced so far off the top of my head, is 007 First Light, the new James Bond game. And so, pun intended, Forza Horizon can just run over that, no problem. And then the last of the 3 games that they're focusing on is Beast of Reincarnation, which is being made by Game Freak. And then, for those of you who might be in the Xbox audience who don't know who Game Freak is, Game Freak is the developers of the Pokemon games. And a lot of people don't know this, but Game Freak does do things has made things, other than Pokemon. I can't think of any of their names right now, but they've made multiple different games other than Pokemon over the years, but they've never had anywhere near the success of any Pokemon game, let alone, not even as close as like a Pokemon spin-off game. But this is looking to be pretty much like a AAA level game from Beast of Reincarnation. I mean, from Game Freak, in Beast of Reincarnation, which is surprising. Just, side tangent. I think if this game shows off really well, I think a lot of Pokemon fans will be like really pissed off, because they'll be like, well, Pokemon makes all these billions and billions of dollars. Why is none of this being reflected in like the fidelity or performance of like the Pokemon games? So I think a lot of people will be having questions, either as a Pokemon fan or a non-Pokemon fan after watching Beast of Reincarnation, like, seeing the game. But Game Freak is set to reveal details about its, quote, intense one-person, one-dog action RPG. And they're going to be showing, quote, protagonist Emma's innovative plant manipulation actions and gameplay with her canine companion Ku, end quote. So, yeah, so as I said, it's a action RPG. You have your protagonist, you have your dog, and I guess, I don't know if it's going to be something like Kena Bridge of Spirits, where you send off the dog to do like tasks, and then in combat, you and the dog are doing combos off of each other or something like that. I'm curious to see. Also, the stuff of the plant manipulation, this just came to my head, while reading that quote off. I wonder if like the combat will be kind of like, and I don't come with pitchforks, but like it made me think of Forspoken. The game from Square Enix on PS5. I wonder if like the combat will have like any kind of elements like that in terms of like the combos and fluidity, and like I imagine with like plants, like you're sending out like tendrils or vines and stuff like that. And I remember Forspoken had like some abilities like that. That's just my mental picture, what it made me think of. Oh yeah, it's also supposed to be set in this a post-apocalyptic Japan. So that's interesting. I'd be excited to see Game Freak really, use all that money that they have from Pokemon and, make this like, a big AAA looking game. So I'm curious to see what they can do. And then 3 games seems really small, and a lot of people think that there are going to be, 1 or 2 secret announcements. There is rumored that Double Fine's next game will be appearing here as well at the Developer Direct. It's supposed to be Kiln, I think, is like at least what the code name or maybe like the unofficial title for this game that they showed a little bit off years ago. And it's supposed to be like this like kind of like clay figure fighting thing. I'm not entirely sure, but something along that with Double Fine is rumored to be appearing here. All right, and those are the 2 showcases to keep an eye on. And then briefly, we have a few sales milestones that have just recently hit. So, Detroit Become Human has sold 15 million copies across PS4 and PC. Because it released back in 2018. So, 15 million in, 8 years now? That's pretty great. And it's not even, it never came to Xbox, it never came to like Nintendo. So just, this like third-person adventure style game selling 15 million copies, I think that's really great for Quantic Dreams. They should be really happy with that performance. And then we have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has sales have topped 10 million. And this just came out back in 2020. This one may not seem as surprising to people with how much they keep on updating this game and coming out with new content for it. And like Dragon Ball games, I feel like always sell at least 1 million or 1 million plus, and then as long as there's more stuff coming out for it, people keep on buying it. And Kakarot has already been successful, but seeing it hit 10 million copies, I think it's really great. I personally didn't care for the game, but I'm sure the people that play Kakarot are really happy. Arc Raiders has sold 12.4 million copies, and this game only came out in October of last year, so that was just 3 months ago. So that's crazy. Because they Embark Studios, the people who make Arc Raiders, they had announced that they had sold 4 million copies just within the the first 2 weeks of the game's launch, and so they've sold 8 million copies basically since an extra 8 million copies since the second week of launch, just 3 months, and that's really crazy. And I know the Arc Raiders kind of discussion and buzz has like died down a little bit, as people are like settling into the content, like the meta's kind of playing out. But I think whenever they have like their next big like kind of like content update, or like big change or shift in the gameplay or new modes, I think those numbers will explode again. And like this game's gonna have legs for years. It's like, I think eventually this game could sell like 20+ million copies. It's definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. So these are a couple of release. I have let's see. I have a release date announcement and a port announcement. So Towerborne is going to be leaving early access and launching on February 26th for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now Towerborne, for those who don't know, is a side-scrolling action brawler RPG. So just imagine like Castle Crashers, with like gear sets and leveling up and builds, not in terms of art style, but just in terms of like gameplay. And it's going to cost $25 for the standard edition, $30 for the deluxe edition, and it will of course be in Game Pass as well, for Game Pass subscribers. And then another Xbox title, we have Avowed coming to PS5 on February 17th alongside its anniversary update. And the update will have things like New Game Plus, photo mode, and a new weapon type. I'm interested in Avowed and Towerborne. I could have gotten Avowed on this past Steam Winter Sale, but I ended up deciding to wait on it. I'm kind of regretting that now. I kind of wish I just went ahead and snagged it. But oh well. And then as for Towerborne, I want to see how that game does. I didn't play the early access or play any like the preview builds. I do remember seeing on Steam that the reviews had it pretty low when it was, the early access, just because of like how quiet it had been from the developers in terms of like keeping, the community updated on what's going on. So hopefully this launch can win them back and they're able to put out a good game for everybody. So we'll see. And then now, let's talk about what's out this week. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance has been added to Nintendo Classics on Switch 2. The GameCube Nintendo Classic games, I believe, are only on Switch 2. So there you go. This is, a lot of people consider this to be the best Fire Emblem game, and I think this is great for people who just want to have be able to try or experience the game at all. Because if you were to try to hunt down like a GameCube copy, I think nowadays it's like down to like $200, like a used copy on eBay. There was times I remember seeing it up for like $300, $400, $500. So I think this is really great for people who just want to be able to play the game. And then we also have the Switch 2 port or Switch 2 edition of Animal Crossing New Horizons that's coming out for all of you, who love your Animal Crossing. No shade, I don't know why I said it like that. And then we have Cassette Boy also coming out. It's an indie puzzle platforming game, I believe. Well, not platforming, yeah, an indie puzzle game where I think you can kind of move around things, or I might be getting it mixed up with a different puzzle game. That's been getting some attention online from the puzzle sickos out there, who are obviously, they're smarter than me. I can't handle puzzle games. My brain just explodes with frustration, whenever I'm playing one. And then we have a game that I highlighted in my January games to check out is The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond Horizon. This is the third game in the Calvard arc of the Trails series, and the 13th game in the Trails, storyline overall. Definitely be excited for this if you're a Trails fan. Keep an eye out, because that's today that comes out. I have the game pre-ordered. I got the collector's edition from NIS, so I should be getting that sometime soon. I'd have to check on my tracking, but anyway, it was a pretty slow week this week in terms of news. There might be stuff that I missed or decided not to highlight. It's either I didn't see it, or I didn't think it was really that important, or I didn't care to talk about it, But yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts down below, and if you could, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.